Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Ashtottarashat Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramhans Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Srila Prabhupada ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, 10th chapter, text number 24. Sa va ayam sakhi anugita satkatho sava ayam sakhi anugita satkatho vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhihi Vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhihi ya eka isho jagad atma leelaya ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijati avati atti na tatra sajjate srijatyavatyatti na nugita satkatho vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhihi ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijatyavatyatti na tatra sajjate sava ayam sakyanugita satkatho vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhihi ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srijatyavatyatti न तत्र सज्जते सवायं सख्यनुगीतसत्कथो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः य एकैशो जगदात्मलीलया सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सवायं सख्यनुगीतसत्कथो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः य एकैशो जगदात्मलीलया सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सः he why also I am this sakhi O my friend anugita described satkatha the excellent pastimes vedeshu in the Vedic literatures guhyeshu confidentially cha as also guhyavadibhihi by the confidential devotees yaha one who ekaha one only ishaha the supreme controller jagat of the complete creation atma super soul leelaya by manifestation of pastimes srijati creates avati atti also maintains and annihilates na never tatra there sajjate becomes attached to it. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. Please repeat. Oh, dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. Purport. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Shri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are expanded by many branches and sub branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord, like Vyas, Narad, Shukdev Goswami, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlād, Janak, Bali, and Yamraj. But in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam especially, the confidential parts of his activities are described by confidential devotee Shukdev Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of his pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of his existence. His identity being fully spiritual, his form, name, quality, and paraphernalia, etc., have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore he sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. But factually, he is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahman. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. We discussed in the last class, the women are discussing what is the qualification of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is walking in front of us, but he is actually the source of all the creation he maintains. And then at the time of destruction, he absorbs all the universes with living entities in his body. He is the source. But who can understand this? One who is engaged in rigid devotional service, we understood. So those who engage in rigid devotional service and fully controlling their senses, they only are able to understand. So without fully controlling the senses, it is extremely difficult, it is impossible to arrive at the conclusion of absolute truth. So that is why Prabhupada explains, in all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control one's mind and senses. So this is the first duty Prabhupada is explaining. One is supposed to follow various duties. But when one is on the spiritual path, what is the first duty? That is to control mind and senses. So it is not easy to control mind and senses. So one has to practice. That is why it is told from the very beginning this practice is required. And that is what is taught in Gurukuls, or what was taught in the Gurukuls. Gurukule vasandanto guror hitam. So this is education. Education means controlling the senses. Gurukule vasandanto, danta means controlling our senses. And acting for the pleasure of spiritual master, satisfaction of spiritual master. So it is not easy to control. Senses are compared to snake. The snakes are very difficult to control. In a similar way, senses are also extremely difficult to control. And thus great munis also have failed in controlling the senses. Prabhupada gives example, Vishwamitra Muni, Saubhari Muni, and various great stalwart saints have fallen down. It is so difficult. One sense on which the mind contemplates, it can topple the boat. Vayur navam ivam basa, Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. So first of all, people are not even realizing that sense control is important. That is why understanding about Krishna, it is told, Guhyeshu chak guhyavadibhi vedeshu guhyeshu. Even if you read Vedas, you will not understand about Krishna, because the understanding of Krishna is explained in confidential parts of the Vedas. Everywhere we will not find. Vedeshu guhyeshu. And then guhyavadibhi. In those confidential parts of the Vedas, confidential devotees have described the confidential activities of the Lord. So why it is confidential? Because of the potencies of Maya. Maya puts us into illusion. What is the first illusion created by Maya? First illusion is satisfy the senses. I am this body. So that is why the whole world practically, they are working very hard just to satisfy the senses. So it is so very much easy to understand.
So it has been easy for us because we have engaged in devotional service. Otherwise, this is confidential understanding. People are taking so much education, working so hard, planning, devising what they have invented now. New chip has come in the or going to come. Willow, that is called by Google. That is called Willow, right? So Sundar Pichai told it can compute. It can take only 5 minutes to finish calculations, which would otherwise have taken septillion or some word they use. Huh? One followed by how many zeros? 7 zeros or 70 zeros? I do not know. Whatever. Practically infinite time. It can finish in 5 minutes that calculation. So another leading entrepreneur is replying, "Wow, it is such a nice thing." So calculation which would have taken modern supercomputer uh, many years. So that chip is going to perform in. So just see how much intelligence people have. But even after so much intelligence, this understanding does not awaken that sense enjoyment is not happiness. So if the first equation is wrong, Prabhupada explains in many places, then how much ever calculation you do, you will get zero, 0 marks. Because there is mistake in the first line itself. Then you keep on doing calculation, 2 pages, 3 pages, everything is waste. So they are doing very wonderful calculations, very fast calculation, super fast calculation. But then there is fundamental mistake. And what is the mistake? First equation is wrong. I equal to body. Then whatever you build upon this calculation, it is useless. So although it is very simple to understand that sense gratification is not happiness. I am not the body, still higher understanding. Even if you think you are the body, sense enjoyment makes me miserable. So this is what Buddhist philosophy is. This is common sense philosophy. Because understanding I am not the body, it still takes lot of austerity and penances. One has to take pain. Without taking pain, there is no question of coming to the platform of knowledge. So that is why so much pain one has to take. From the very beginning, one has to train oneself in taking voluntary pains. Human life is just meant for taking voluntary pains. Human life is preparation. Sense enjoyment in all other species we have done, we can continue in future also. Vishaya khalu sarvatasyat, but not in human form of life. No. Other forms of life, you cannot do anything else but sense enjoyment. And their senses also are very strong for sense enjoyment. Either you have body of animals or you have body of demigods, you can do sense enjoyment. But human form of life is extremely rare on this planet. Extremely rare. Just like our final classes are very important for our career. Very important time. In a similar way, this human form of life, the only purpose is tapo divyam putrakayena shuddhye sattvam, to purify our existence. Human life has got no other business. And this, the most wise person, the ruler of the entire planet, Rishabdev is telling. Tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam, human life is not meant for anything else but tapasya, voluntarily accepting of discomforts for the senses. Why? Our existence becomes purified. When our existence is purified, then what happens? You ultimately get for what you are hankering now. That is Brahma Saukhyam. That is spiritual happiness. Spiritual happiness is the real happiness. In sense enjoyment, also, there is happiness, but this happiness is the very enemy of the living entity. This small happiness only is enemy. This creates all the troubles in our life. So, this is first snare of Maya. First snare of Maya is living entity gets absorbed in sense enjoyment. The whole world is doing this sense enjoyment, this basic thing nobody is able to understand. And then some people, by virtue of penance and austerity is required to get to any platform of knowledge, just like a person who is intoxicated has to stop drinking. It will be very inconvenient. So I was speaking to a devotee. He was, when I was in Rajasthan. I was meeting this person, a retired policeman, and he was very favorable, very interested in Krishna consciousness, would come to us often. And then he planned that now I've got retired, let me go and stay with my son. Son, I mean, daughter in law with the family. And I'll take care of my grandson, I'll play with him. In this way, and of course, after retirement, you have a big house, I'll make a big house. So in this way, he planned, I'll shift to Jaipur, I live there with my family. And then I spoke to him after 7-8 years. So life is practically a disaster. So yeah, so how are you? I told, okay, not so good. What happened? How is your grandson? The grandson has gone away. Why? Because daughter-in-law went away. Why he went away? Because son has become a drunkard. And son is drinking so much that he's not able to get up from the bed. Forget doing job or anything else. And then he has got so much addicted, unless he drinks, he becomes completely restless. And so restless that he can even beat his mother. He goes to such an extreme if you don't give him money to drink. He was well placed doing nice thing, but then he has gone crazy now, restless. He goes to hospital, doctors are telling stop drinking, he cannot stop drinking. For 2 years he is on bed, not doing anything, but cannot stop drinking. Becomes very violent. So these are material plans. So we make plan that I'll be happy in this way, but some other picture comes around, and then again there is struggle. In this way, everyone is struggling. Yes, I'll do this. We have all our plans, but Maya is crashing all our plans away. And then again you tried, again they are toppled by Maya. Again living entity tries. In this way, living entity tries eternally. Plans are never successful. And finally, when the living entity realizes, and how he realizes? Again, by good association. Without association, if he gets into association of saintly people, he gets trained in taking austerities and penances. So that is why when Parikshit Maharaj, he heard the descriptions of hell, he became very much concerned how to save people. This is a devotee, Vaishnava. So even on mundane level also, there is no elevation in the consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada explains, any great person does not live for himself, he lives for others. But now nobody is thinking of others. Everyone is living for his own self. At least somebody should think of others. Nobody thinks about others. So-called some politicians or leaders, they appear to be thinking of others, but actually that is not fact. They are also whole world is self-interested. Have you met any person who is living just for doing benefit to others? Have you met anybody in life? Any single person? We don't find anybody who is living for others. I want to alleviate the pain of others. Very rare. And this is the principle of material happiness also. It is told in Bhagavatam. What is the material principle of happiness? That one's riches, one's resources, one's family members should be used in the service of others. Otherwise, aho dainyam aho kashtam parakya shan bhanguray yannopukuryat aswarthyay martya swagyati vigrahay. Swagyati, if a person thinks that these relatives, this resources, this money, my opulence, my property, this belongs to me. Swagyati vigrahay, belong to this body. They are meant for my enjoyment. Aho dainyam, aho kashtam, Bhagavatam tells. They will become the source of your misery. You are thinking that the people around me and the property around me will give me happiness. No, these very things will become source of misery. This we can analyze in the life very clearly. These very things which you think are the source of your happiness will become the source of kasht, misery. Aho dainyam, aho kashtam. Parakyai Shanabhangurai. Yan na upakuryat aswarthyai. Swarth means selfishness, aswarthyai means for others. So one who does not use the resources which God has given for the welfare of others, they will become the great source of misery. So even if one wants material happiness, one is supposed to use one's resources for others. That is why Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Work has to be done so that result will come out of work. That is the way the things work here. That is a law. You do any work, result will come. And you don't enjoy the result. Work should be done so that Yagya arthat. Yagya means sacrifice. Arth means purpose. The purpose of doing work here is to sacrifice the result of the work. That will make you happy. But nobody thinks of sacrificing. People think of enjoying. That is not how the nature works. The trees work so that we enjoy the results of their produce. We enjoy the shade of the tree, the fruit of the tree, the branch of the tree, the wood of the tree, and the oxygen released by the tree. All the products are for our use. Similarly, all the living entities. Honeybees are working very hard. We enjoy the honey. They do pollination. We enjoy the grains. The grain plant has stood there, died there. We enjoy the fruit. And then we enjoy what we also produce. Human being wants to take everyone's fruit and fruit that we produce also. And still we are not satisfied. Still we are not satisfied. Even though we are grabbing everything. So thus, this is not the purpose. Yagya arthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So work has to be done to sacrifice. This is called karma yoga. Even Gyan yoga is not possible unless somebody is very, very austere, and as we discussed, penance. So no problem. People are attached to doing works. You do work, but the prime purpose of work is to sacrifice. Sacrifice the result of the work. Otherwise, what will happen? Karmoyam loko, lokoyam karma bandhana. One will get entangled in the karma. So one's first duty is to sacrifice, then a person will be happy in material world. Happy means misery will be less. That is called happiness here. There is no happiness. So the miseries in material world will be less when one works to sacrifice, yagya artha, sacrifice the result of one's works. One uses everything for the benefit, welfare of others. And the best welfare is, of course, Krishna consciousness, but that is extremely confidential subject matter. But this much a person is able to understand, I am violating the design of nature, the laws of nature. Some people by nature will not have wealth. Somebody will have wealth. So the wealth of the rich should be used for those who do not have wealth. Who does not have wealth? 3 portions of Vedic society don't have wealth. Who are they? Brahmachari, Vanprastha, and Sannyasi. So 25% of population is supposed to take care of 75%. How one will take care? I'm not able to take care of my needs. So 25% has to take care of 75. How is it possible? How they will take care? Because their needs are very less. What they will want? Little piece of chapati they will ask. Give me little. That is called madhukari. What is madhukari? Sannyasi is not supposed to be greedy. When Sanatana Goswami took sannyas and he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, because he was in trouble, he ran away from jail, and so he was in very bad shape. He had to cross mountains. So Mahaprabhu told, please have him take nice bath and then give him nice clothes to wear, and then please feed him nicely. So Sanatana Goswami did not accept nice clothes. He told, if you have any used piece of cloth, please give it to me. So that used piece he took, and then he tore it apart, made inner garments, loin cloth. In this way, that was his dress. Mahaprabhu became very happy. And then when he was offered food, he told, how can I take food? I will do madhukari. What is madhukari? Begging little from every house. Why begging from house? So that householders can benefit. If householders engage in the service of the sannyasi or sadhus, they advance. Generally, householders do not have time for spiritual advancements, and this way sadhus are supposed to go. and take little from every house so that burden does not come on one family. So you go to one family, take little everyone can give. So thus they don't need much. Vanprastha, sannyasis and brahmacharis, they need just little. And that is what they need. Otherwise they live in jungle. They are happy outside the city in their cottage, in their hut. So but still they need maintenance. They are engaged in serious business of practicing Krishna consciousness. This is Vedic civilization. If at all you want to enjoy, enjoyment is allowed only in 1/4 of the life, maximum, that is 25 years, not more than that. Around 24 years, the boy is married, and up to 50 years he can live, not more than that. After this, Pancha Shodham Vanam Rajet, again you go to jungle. So the purpose was self-realization. So 1/4 you can spend with family, otherwise you remain in jungle. Only 3/4 are spent in jungle, outside the city. Austerities, self-realization. Association with opposite sex is the greatest source of illusion. So that is allowed only for 25 years. For those who cannot control their senses, cannot understand, so this is allowed. So in this way we can see they do not have money. So those who are having money, householders, they are contributing. So that is why it is told a grahastha is glorified by his charity. Now, what a brahmachari will do? So brahmachari will collect that and do yajna. So brahmachari is supposed to be engaged in doing yajna, sacrifice. Brahmachari is known by his yajna. And what kind of yajna we do? Of course, earlier Agnihotra, those yajnas were done. Now the prime yajna is Sankirtan yajna. So brahmachari is known by how much yajna, sacrifice he is doing. And as in a similar way, sannyasi is known by the austerities, how much tapasya he can do. So they are having knowledge. So they will give it to others who do not have knowledge. They will give knowledge to householders. So knowledge is also required. A person whose senses are not controlled, who is blind, he needs the help of a person who has got eyes. So generally the householders, they are not supposed to be very much awakened in knowledge, unless in Krishna consciousness, which is rare. But still, if they follow guidance of the people who have knowledge, they also can make their life perfect. So those who are having knowledge will give knowledge to others. Those who are having resources, wealth, they will give wealth to others to sustain, to perform sacrifice and everything. In this way, the society functions very nicely. So thus, it is common sense. God has given different living entities different gifts. They can produce different things of their body. And that is meant for others. Yajna arthat, sacrifice. So when a person sacrifices, then there is material happiness. But this also people do not know. This is common sense understanding. So most of the people, they spend life like this. But then Parikshit Maharaj was very much concerned. He was just concerned about others. Even though he is going to die, he sets the example that what is the duty of an ideal householder, a king? He is always thinking about others. The whole world is suffering. As soon as we have pain, what do we think? How do I get relief from this pain? But actually, advanced person thinks, oh, how much pain I am having. Similar pain must be felt by so many other human beings or living entities. How to give them relief of this pain? This is called mature consciousness. If I come in stress, anxiety, I should immediately think, oh, this is such an awkward situation. And so many people are suffering from this. What can I do for them? If I am not able to tolerate, for them also it must be very difficult to tolerate. So what can I do to give them relief? This is advanced consciousness. But unfortunately, this is not found. Because of being intoxicated by sense enjoyment. Nobody is thinking how to help others, how to help. Everyone is suffering. I am suffering so much. Similarly, everybody is suffering much more than me. How to give relief? So Parikshit Maharaj thought this. Even though he is going to die in 7 days, but he is inquiring how to save others. And then Shukdev Goswami told, that is why they should do atonement. What is atonement? If we do any sinful activity, we cross the limits of sense enjoyment, we are liable to be punished. And if we commit such mistakes, then in the Vedas, proper procedures are required by which we can avoid the undue suffering which is going to come to us by taking a token form of suffering. So sometimes the atonement is charity. You do this charity, you will get relief. Sometimes atonement is some austerity. You do this kind of austerity. You fast for these many days. Or you travel on foot, walk on pilgrimage for this thing for a long time, long distance. Or you do something else. There are various procedures. And one atonement is, of course, killing. If somebody kills other living entities, he will suffer very, very horribly in hell. So atonement for them is capital punishment. You also kill them, they will be saved. So all their sinful activity is nullified. So like this, various atonements are there, which is token suffering in order to avoid great, enormous suffering which awaits them in future. But then Parikshit Maharaj rejected this. Why rejected? Yes, because tendency to break the laws, tendency to sense enjoyment still remains in the heart. So a person has fallen sick, but he is having a lifestyle disorder. Again, he will fall sick. So what is the use of medicine? Again, he will fall sick. So because tendency to commit sin, to have sense enjoyment has not gone from the heart, what is the use of atonement? So person has to go to hell. Now he has become purified. Again, he'll commit mistake. That is why people are telling there should be strict enforcement of laws. The thief does not know law. He knows laws the best. But if you tell thief, please do not steal, can he follow that? No. Why? Because heart is contaminated. You tell a rapist, do not do this thing, this bad act, will he stop? No. Heart is contaminated. He knows the laws. He knows laws are very strict. But in heart, there is contamination. So that is why Prabhupada told purification of heart is required. Materialist is restless, cannot sit in one place for a long time. That is why Prabhupada made smoking chambers in the temples. Because Westerners, they were so much addicted to smoking. So one disciple tells, my mother came, sat for the Bhagavatam class, but she went out to smoke, cannot sit. I was having some friends in my college. End terms are long. 3 hours. Now what is the duration? Still 3 hours, no? Yeah, so 3 hours they cannot write, they have to smoke. They'll finish paper, submit and go outside so that they can smoke. Never mind getting some less marks. So at least 1 or 2, 3 people were like that. So much addicted, they cannot even sit for 3 hours without smoking. They have to go out, restless. This is of course extreme. But otherwise also Prabhupada tells you will never find a materialist who can sit in one place. No. But Haridas Thakur, one place he is sitting. Or the Goswamis, in one place they are sitting. So this path we should follow. Just see, this is the result. If you follow Krishna consciousness, you will be so satisfied. You will be sitting in one place. And just you are satisfied thinking of lotus feet of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. Or just by reading Bhagavatam. Completely satisfied. So this is called spiritual life. All the restlessness, but materialist always restless. Now hypersonic planes they have invented. From Beijing to New York, you can reach in 2 hours. More restlessness. I want to go to other hemisphere in 2 hours. Cannot sit in one place. Earlier people are satisfied traveling in the same village. Now they want to, across the continents they want to go. More restless, always traveling here, there. Not satisfied in one place. And thus we saw in COVID, people became mentally diseased because they were not able to move around. But devotees were in bliss in the same apartment, speaking Bhagavad Gita, discussing about it, but completely in bliss. What to speak of disorder? They came in bliss because there was so much chance to speak. Otherwise, nobody listens to us. People are busy. From morning, I am busy. Evening, I am busy. I am busy. Now they were available always. So we are so glad. Morning, afternoon, evening, we are discussing Bhagavatam. So completely satisfied in the small flats of Mumbai, satisfied. Others, they develop mental disease in the same. So this is the understanding. So there is complete restlessness if a person does not cleanse his heart. The rules, regulations are not going to help. So then Shukdev Goswami told, yes, heart has to be cleansed. You are very intelligent. And what is the process of cleansing the heart? Tapasa brahmacharyena shamena damena cha tyagena satya shauchabhyam yamena niyamerava Tapasa. First of all, tapasya is required. What is tapasya? So the tapasya, as it is described by, who explains, I think? Jiva Goswami or Vishwanath Chakravarti or Sridhar Swami, somebody. Tapasa means observing the fasts as fully as possible. So one who can control the tongue can control everything else, all the other senses. So that is why fasting is very much required. All other advanced tapasyas may not be possible for us in Kali Yuga, but at least fasting is required. 4 regulative principles and fasting on Ekadashi days, appearance days, disappearance days. So if we control our tongue and belly, then automatically brahmacharya will be followed. If tongue is not controlled, belly will not be controlled. We taste more, we fill belly more, then more sleep, and then more sensual desires. One cannot follow brahmacharya. So observing the fast as fully as possible, that is called tapasya. So this tapasya is required. And then brahmacharya, the most important tapasya, that is required. Tapasa brahmacharyena. By this, this lording over enjoying tendency, it goes away from that. One understands. So yes, sense enjoyment is misery. I was thinking this is pleasure. Shamena, damena, mind control is tapasya. It is not easy to control the mind. Mind usually goes in thoughts of lust, anger, greed, always planning. Tapasya, shamena, damena, tyagena, to tyag, sacrifice the results of your activities, not easy. We are attached. Satyam, being very truthful, not easy. Shauchabhyam, cleanliness, not easy. In how many days we take bath in IIT? Average? Huh? 2 days, huh? Oh, it's very clean. So we are supposed to take 3 baths in a day. But every alternate days, or I think that is also over expectation. Nitin, what was the trend your time? Similar alternate day, huh? You had Satvik circle, I think. But I think 3-4 days is norm. So in college, we were in a dance group. So we are practicing, and long rehearsals are there. 2-3 months you have to practice for good performance. So our team lead. So from the day he starts practicing till he performs, he will not take bath. He tells, I'll forget the steps. After performance, I'll take bath. So practically 3 months, he is without a shower. So they are supposed to be intelligent people, but this is what it is. Shaucham, not at all attached to cleanliness. So cleanliness is important. It is austerity, but we have to keep clean. Our body should be clean outside. Inside also should be clean. Our digestion, bowel movement should be proper. Otherwise, we cannot chant Hare Krishna, cannot advance in yoga. Ashtanga yoga especially, it is very important. And subtle body, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, consciousness also should be clean. In this way, inside, outside, one should be clean. In this way, these are various procedures to keep the heart clean. Then one can follow the path of Gyan Yoga. Then Parikshit Maharaj rejected this also. Why? So by doing all these procedures, one is freed from the immediate sins. I have broken some laws of nature. I give charity. I do tapasya. I take voluntary discomforts, austerity. I get freedom from the immediate sins which I have committed. But tendency to commit sin, that does not go away. It is because of previous karma that we have done. Kutam, Bijam, Falonmukham, Prarabdha. These are 4 various kinds of karma. Kutam means it is stored. Bija means it has taken the form of seed. Falonmukha means it is fructifying. And Prarabdha means now we are reaping the result. Some disease is there, some legal case is there, or some chronic health issues are there. This is called Prarabdha. Now we are reaping the result. So by this process of austerities, penances, sacrifice, etc., the tendency to commit sinful acts is not destroyed. Kutam is not destroyed. Because of past sinful life, we have tendency to commit sins again. So that is why when Parikshit Maharaj told, the tendency is still there in the heart. Yes, I am freed from the sinful reactions, but again the tendency is there. So what to do? Then Shukdev Goswami told, yes, some very rare people, kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudev parayana agam dhunvanti karsnena niharam yava bhaskaraha. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya, some very, very rare people, bhaktya, they engage in devotional service. And what is devotional service? Just like the sun rises and the mist disappears, the fog disappears. What we have is smog, it does not disappear. Some chemicals are there, otherwise fog, it disappears as soon as the sun rises. Similarly, all the sinful activities, kutam, bijam, falonmukham, prarabdha, any kind of sinful activity and the tendency to act sinfully is also because of sinful activity of past. This is completely destroyed by engagement in devotional service, but this is very, very confidential as it is explained here. Vedeshu guhyeshu chak guhyavadhibihi. It is very confidential. It starts with hearing about Lord Krishna. Jagad Atma Leelaya. We have to do nothing, simply sit and hear the activities of Krishna. That's it. This is what Shukdev Goswami did. This, if you do at least every morning and evening in the association of devotees, immense purification, Prabhupada explains. US government is spending so much money to make people de-addicted, Prabhupada explained. But see, in our movement, without any extra endeavor, they have given up all the bad habits. Without extra endeavor. And there the government is doing so much endeavor. President himself is not able to leave smoking. What to speak of others? President himself is addicted. So thus, you can become most powerful person. You can control the affairs of entire world, but you will not be able to control your senses only. Senses are so strong. You can control whole world. You cannot control senses. That is why it is told, Durdantendriya, the most formidable enemy are one's mind and senses. But the devotee, simply by hearing about Krishna, they are able to control the senses easily without extra endeavor. So this is the process. But this is very, very confidential process. And how do we get access to this confidential process? By guhyavadibhi, by association of confidential devotees of Krishna. So that is why, unless one associates with the confidential devotees, even by reading Vedas, Vedeshu Guhyeshu, from Vedas it is difficult to be known. When there was Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see Lord Jagannath, and then he will chant a verse which the gopis and Srimati Radharani would chant actually. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would chant that verse. And nobody was able to understand the meaning of that verse, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is singing. But Rup Goswami, he was there for some time before he went to Vrindavan. He was there. And Rup Goswami heard this verse and similar verse, which carried the import of that verse. He wrote in a leaf and then inserted the leaf in his cottage, which was close to the temple. So because they were associating a lot with the Muslims, they were practically outcasted from the Brahmin society. They took birth in Brahmin families, but Brahmin is never supposed to do a job. What to speak of doing job with Muslims who have very, no criticism, but meat eating and all, this is not as per the Brahminical standards. So they were not following. So first of all, taking a job and associating with people who are eating cows, very contaminated. So thus they were outcasted. So thus in Jagannath Puri temple, only the Hindus are allowed, others are not allowed. So they also did not protest, they were happy staying outside. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Jagannath himself was going to meet them every day. Mahaprabhu will have darshan of Jagannath and then he'll go to meet Haridas Thakur and Rup Goswami. And Rup Goswami, and of course there are no phones, I am coming at 11 o'clock, we'll meet at 11. He will go, sometimes Goswamis will not be there. They might have gone to take bath or other things. So then he'll go to meet other personalities. He'll go to meet Haridas Thakur or some other devotees like that. So this time when he came to meet Rup Goswami, again Rup Goswami was not in his hut. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked around. He saw this piece of leaf was there. He took out and then he read. And Mahaprabhu became in ecstasy. He was amazed how Rup Goswami is able to understand my mind. Nobody knows the meaning of this verse. And he has known the meaning of this verse. And then Rup Goswami came from behind. He fell flat. He offered obeisances. He took him on his lap and he started dancing. And then he slapped him mildly. How could you understand my mind? My mind is so confidential, nobody knows it. And then he went back and he spoke to Sarup Damodar, his secretary, another intimate associates. He told, just see Rup Goswami, how he is able to understand my mind. He understood the verse which I am chanting. So then they told, because he knows your mind, he has already received your causeless mercy. Without your mercy, nobody can understand your mind. So although there is a verse written in Sanskrit with everybody, which everyone was practically knowing at that time, Mahaprabhu is loudly chanting, everyone can hear, but not everyone can understand the meaning, unless one who has received favor of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is why one will read Bhagavad Gita many, many times. One will not be able to understand this simple process. Man mana, Krishna is telling, think of me. Where is difficulty? Krishna is declaring, Sarva guhyatamam bhuya shinu me paramam vachaha. Krishna is declaring now here, Sarva guhyatamam. I have spoken so many instructions, karma yoga, jnana yoga, this thing, austerity, yajna, tapaha, three modes of nature, purush, prakriti. Now here the most confidential instruction, Sarva guhyatamam. And what is that? Shinu me paramam vacha. He is telling, this is my topmost instruction, paramam vachaha. So that should be given maximum importance. So after declaring, this is my topmost instruction, this is most confidential, sarva guhyatamam. And then Krishna tells, what is that? Man mana, think of me. Bhav mad bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, offer your respects to me. Sar dharman parityajya, mam ekam, forget all duties and surrender unto me. Mam ekam. But still nobody can do that. They will think of everything but Krishna. Millions of people are meditating across the world. They'll meditate on everything but Krishna. Man mana, Krishna is telling, this is topmost meditation, topmost instruction. Man mana, think of me. Become my devotee. After reading Bhagavad Gita, they'll follow Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, everything else. But Krishna is telling, Bhav mad bhakto, become my devotee. Worship me, madhyaji. They will tell, what is the need of going to temples? Krishna is telling, madhyaji, worship me. Yaji, worship, very clear meaning. Offer your respects to me, mam namaskuru. Mam ekam sarv dharman parityajya. Surrender completely unto me. So thus, even though Krishna has told, unless one receives mercy of Krishna or mercy of his pure devotee, it is not possible. That is why it's called Vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibhi. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. So, because they have engaged themselves in service of Krishna, they are able to understand that this personality who is there in front of us, he creates, maintains, and annihilates all the affairs of this world. So, similarly, we can understand by pleasing the pure devotees. That is why the devotional service is most confidential part. So what we are supposed to do is do nothing but engage in the service of a pure devotee of Krishna. And that again Krishna has declared in Bhagavad Gita, pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. If we use our just brains to understand what is truth, we will go further away from truth. Because our brain can only comprehend three modes of nature. So we have to engage in service of Krishna, and then right understanding is revealed from the heart. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Surrender completely. So that is why the process is surrender, Prabhupada explains. Go to a spiritual master, Tattvadarshi, who has seen the truth. How do I know this is right spiritual master? So Prabhupada explains, need not worry. Go to a prospective spiritual master who you think can become your spiritual master, and then such prospective spiritual master should be followed very strictly for 1 year. And then one should see whether spiritual master is following the same thing, what is written in the Vedas. Is he giving the same instructions, what Krishna has given, what Vedas are given, or is he speaking something else? And of course, without following the instructions, one cannot purify his heart. One will not be able to understand the Vedic knowledge. So that is why for 1 year, follow all the instructions very strictly. That is why brahmachari is told, do not even eat unless spiritual master calls you to eat. This much surrender is required. Complete surrender. So if spiritual master calls, come child, please take lunch, you should go and take lunch. You cannot ask, can I take lunch? No. remain completely dependent. So all the rules and regulations should be followed very strictly, at least for 1 year. And then you see, then you examine, and then if we are convinced, then we should surrender to spiritual master, take shelter, pranipatena, and then inquire by sevaya, rendering service, Krishna has told. And entire revelation is in proportion to surrender and service. Then anybody can understand what these women have understood, that it is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world, and yet remains unaffected. So thus Vedas are very confidential. Confidential devotees know the secret, and by service of confidential devotees, we can come to this conclusion. Otherwise, the whole world, how much ever smart they are, they think sense enjoyment is happiness. If they become more advanced, they think renunciation of sense enjoyment is happiness. Let me take moksha now. That is also selfishness, my happiness. Nobody thinks I am part and parcel of Krishna. Unless I satisfy Krishna, I will never be satisfied. These most confidential instructions. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya. Very, very rarely some people who are able to take to bhaktya, devotional service, they are able to have complete clarity and they understand everything as it is. We'll finish here. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you told about like we should do tapasya and all, but like अगर मैं forcefully तपस्या कर रहा हूँ तो मेरे mind में बार बार ये thought आता है कि नहीं अब तो ये कर ही लेता हूँ, अब तो ये कर ही लेता हूँ. So मैं like forcefully मैं तपस्या करता हूँ and then मैं गलत चीज़ commit कर देता हूँ. And when I don't do तपस्या, मैं अपने आप को नहीं force करता हूँ, तब मैं गलत commit नहीं करता हूँ. So मेरे साथ ऐसे क्यों होता है प्रभु?
तो मत कीजिए तपस्या फिर.
प्रभु मैं कुछ wrong कर रहा हूँ ना शायद तपस्या में.
Yes, so ऐसा क्यों होता है कि when we want to do tapasya, then we feel all the more stronger impulse to commit that activity. This is called test, Prabhupada explains. As soon as you are determined to follow, Maya will test and will put so many impediments. When you appear for any test, then there are troubles. If you don't choose to appear, no need of working, no need of studying, you are happy. So as soon as you decide, you are determined, yes, I want to follow now, and I want to have advanced position in spiritual life, there is test. So thus, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj explains, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will test his devotees. How he tests? By putting them in various associations, which may not be favorable. Yes, I was controlling the senses very nicely. And then suddenly I'm getting so many opportunities, so many girls are calling, let us go out. Let us meet. Long time we have not spoken. When I was calling, they were not interested. Now I want to do chanting. They are interested in me. Nice opportunity will come. Okay, there is offer for you abroad. Come here. 4 times you will get the salary. Leave devotee association. So like this, in unfavorable associations, we will be tested as soon as we are determined for advanced stage of spiritual life. So this is how it is. And otherwise also, whatever we resist, that is the nature of mind, persists. So we have to practice. Even if we go to gym, it is tough when we do this. But we build our muscles, our tenacity. Similarly, by practicing control of mind and senses, our strength will increase. So we have to practice. Slowly increase the tapasya, not so much that our mind becomes disturbed. That is again other extreme. So today onwards, I'll do extreme tapasya. I'll not sleep at all. I will sit in one place like Haridas Thakur and chant. So not possible for us. So slowly we. Other question? We have online? Okay. We'll finish. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Chandra ki Jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Nitai Gaurang ki, Shri Shri Prahlāda Narsingh Dev ki, Shri Shri Sudarshan Bhagwan ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki.